Hey everybody, and welcome to Bright Ideas. Today I'm going to give you a crash course into the research plan needed for new product launches. Now, this is just a general framework. You don't necessarily have to do every phase time. I like to give it as a good rule of thumb is the more that a product differs from your core offering, the more steps you want to likely take. But if it's a close in-line extension, you may be able to skip some of these phases. And also throughout the process, I do like to recommend a good mix of quant and qual to get consumer feedback, particularly the qual, because it really helps uncover some of the whys behind your quant findings. So once you have your alignment on your objectives, you know your consumer target, and you have a final project brief written, the research process typically starts at the idea generation phase. This is really your exploratory research. So what you want to do is create a pool of product ideas, and they could come from pretty much anywhere. Secondary research, focus groups, internal brainstormings that you've done, consumer feedback from prior quant research, or even competitive trends that you're seeing in the industry. And now that you've got all your ideas, you want to screen those with consumers. So typically that's done in an online quant survey. And then when you have all the results back and you reviewed all your KPIs like purchase intent and uniqueness and strengths and weaknesses, those top performers can get pushed forward into a more in-depth concept test. That's typically a monadic test. There's more in-depth questions, and then you could also layer in qual or video feedback that you may be facing. So now you're in the product development and testing phase. So around this time, a product prototype typically gets developed, usually by an R&D team. And the insights team is really going to want to be heavily involved in that process to ensure the product is aligned with all those great consumer insights that you uncovered in the earlier stages. You'll then want to test these products with consumers, and that feedback will determine any modifications that need to be made and which features are most important to emphasize during the launch. And then the research in this phase can be a few different things. It could be a form of product testing. It could even be sensory taste tests if it's a consumable item. I also like to incorporate qual feedback here. I think it's a great way to have consumers help explain the benefits of the product, because you can use that to infuse into your messaging once you get into marketing and advertising. And speaking of marketing, you'll likely want to do some more research in parallel at this phase to get feedback on the other supporting components of your product. So things like advertising, pricing, and packaging. So you're now in the market testing phase. Products typically get tested in a sample market to understand sales potential prior to a full rollout. So along with measuring the test and control sales data during that market test, you can also utilize things like tracking, consumer intercepts, or video response to understand consumers' experience with the product or service. Again, this is a phase within the process where the goal is to test and learn, and you want to adapt where needed. So when all those prior steps are completed and any necessary course correction has been done, you're ready for launch. But your job isn't done yet. You'll now want to track the ongoing progress of that product to ensure the sales components are performing at or above forecast, and also ensuring that the consumer perceptions are still strong. And there you have it, your guide to researching new product launches. We'll see you next time.